Today we are going to see how we are going to achieve a simple pop-up within a model-driven app. And the beauty of this is going to be having the data context within which the pop-up has been clicked. So for example, if you see here, I have clicked on open pop-up and whatever information is in the model-driven app is drivable in the custom pop-up as well. Let's see how we exactly we are going to go get this next. So in order to achieve this the high level architecture, we will be having a model driven app which is hosting a JS which gets invoked on a button click within the model driven app, and it's going to render a custom canvas page. So let's deep dive into a detailed implementation on how to achieve this. Okay, as a first step, let's go ahead and upload our custom JS. So in order to upload, I click on new, I click on more, I click on web resource. Now I click on the choose file and I choose the file from my desktop. So it is going to be open custom popup.js, and I give some name. So open popup, similarly open popup. I mean, this is up to you. Like you can give any name that you want. Just that you'll have to remember the name because we'll be referencing these particular names in our upcoming steps. So once I have chosen the file, given the display name, I click on save, and this particular JS file will be saved into our solution. So you see here a web resource tab, and you will be able to see this open pop-up JS. So that's how we upload the custom JS into our solution. Okay, let's go ahead and add a custom page. So this custom page will be the host of the pop-up. Like whatever is there in the custom page will be the pop-up that is appearing whenever you click on a button within the model driven app. Right now we are not going to customize the custom page. We are just going to create it as a placeholder, and once we integrate it with the model driven app, we will be focusing on adding it to the, or sorry, we'll be focusing on customizing it further as per requirement. Okay, I'm just going to do nothing but just go ahead and save it. I'm just going to name it as pop-up, and I'm going to pop-up page. Let me just give it a name as pop-up page, and I'm just going to go ahead and wait for it to save. Okay, I'm just going to save it as a different name. Custom pop-up page, and I'm just gonna wait for it to save. It's gonna take a minute or so, and I'm just going to close the app. Okay, now that we have our web resource and also our custom page, before going any forward, I am just going to take a note of this particular name. Okay, CRF 682 custom pop-up page underscore 50868. So this name is kind of necessary for us in the next team. So I am going to go ahead and create a custom model driven app. Okay, now that we have added the custom page and also the web resource, it's time that let's go ahead and create a new model driven app. Okay, the model driven app is going to host the custom page, and it's going to be, the custom page is going to be invoked when the button is clicked from the model driven app. So I'm just going to give it as pop-up test app and then create. Now the moment you create it, first thing first, what you'll have to do is add the custom page to this particular model driven app. Okay, whatever needs to be a pop-up, right, you'll have to add that particular page. If you miss this particular step, this is not going to work. So this step is kind of important, adding the custom page to the this thing. So this is our page, this is a duplicate page that I created earlier. So custom pop-up page is the one that we created as part of this particular demo. So I'm just going to add it, and you can hide it from navigation. So this particular option you can uncheck, and you can check this, the necessary page, and then you click on add, and now this page has been added. Now let's go ahead and add one of the tables. Let's add the user table itself. I search for user, I clicked add, then I'm clicking OK. Now what we are going to do is that before we go any further, let's go ahead and publish this. Just not the model driven app, also the custom page. Ensure that you publish it at least once, and yeah, publishing, this has been published, and I'm going to the pages, and you will not be able to play this as this is a custom page and not a canvas app. So that is kind of expected. You edit this. It's gonna take some time here and hit on publish. The other approach that you can do is you can also click on publish all customization at the solution in. This also does a publishing of all the artifacts that are within this particular solution. Yeah, before we go forward, this publishing is also kind of important. It's gonna take a minute or so, and I'm just gonna close the app. Okay, the code is has all the comments explaining each line of code itself. I'm just gonna cover key points here. So basically, it's an async function that has 8 parameters, and these 8 parameters are configurable and customizable from the place where we are going to be calling, which is the model driven app. So if, we are going to call it from a button. So when the button is clicked, we are going to pass these parameters such as the page name, title, entity name, ID, width, height, target, and position. So let me go through the parameters that are essential for this particular configuration. So the page name is nothing but the custom page that we have created. So this will have the schema name of the custom page that we have created. This is the canvas page. Basically the title, it's a string. You can give it anything, like whenever the page opens, if whatever title you want to see, that you can give. Entity name is nothing but the table name itself. We are going to shortly see how we are going to bind this entity name. And ID is nothing but the item ID that is in question. So here we are going to pass in the ID of the item in which we are opening this particular pop-up. So we are going to shortly see how exactly we are going to bind these two things dynamically. And width and height, as the name suggests, it's going to be nothing but the width and the height of the pop-up pane itself. You can configure this. And target, and these two parameters are supposed to be in number and not in any other format. Target and position is a special parameter that is going to have a deep dive separately. Let me go ahead and explain what exactly these target and position parameters are used for. So when you set the target parameter as 1 and position as blank, you basically have the custom page opened fully stretched and in center of the model run app. As in, when you set the target as 2 and position as 1, then you get the custom page as a dialog, and it also appears on the center. Like you can click on this particular small icon and it gets expanded to a full view. So this is why or what the target and position parameter is going to affect on how it is going to load the custom page. So that's about these two parameters. Now let's go back to the model driven app that we had created earlier, which has the custom page added to the model driven app and also a table. This could be any table for that matter. I've just added this, and then I am going to go ahead and click on the edit command bar. So here I am going to edit the main form, not the main grid. So basically this is the form that happens whenever you click on the new item or edit an existing item. And this in the main form page, these are the command bars that you will see at the top. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a new command bar, and I'm going to click on JavaScript. Now I am going to search for the custom page. So I'm just going to sorry, this is not the correct way. Let me click cancel. Here I am going to click on the add library. Sorry, I should not be clicking the edit. I should be clicking on the add library. I should search for my custom page. So my custom page is open pop-up. So I'm going to click on this open pop-up. This is the duplicate I just created as part of a different project. So I'm just this is the one that we created as part of this particular demo. So I'm just going to click on the open pop-up and I click on add. Let me do that again. I click on add. Now it is asking for the function name. So now let me open my VS Code. So the function name that we have is the open custom page. So let me just add that open custom page. Now this has been added and it has been marked to the command. Now we'll have to pass on all the parameters. Now we have 8 parameters. So let's do one by one. So the first is the page name. So we'll have to get the schema name of the canvas app. So I'm just going to go ahead, open Power Apps in the new tab. and I'm going to grab the canvas page name. So let me do that separately. Meanwhile, I'll start filling all the parameters here. So the next is the title. So I'm just going to give this title as sample title. Next is the entity name. So this is the table name. So I'm going to dynamically pick the table name. What I'm going to do is in the drop down, I'm going to choose it as primary entity type name. So this will become the uh, table name as such. Next, what is the parameter ID? So this also is going to be dynamically pulled in. I'm going to say primary item ID. So whichever item has been opened, that ID will be passed to the function. And next is the width. As I told you, width should be in numbers. I am just going to select number as the parameter type, and I'm going to put it as 600 for now. And the next is the width. Sorry, next is the height. I'm just going to mention it as 600 again, so that we get a square window. Okay, and next is the target and position, which are also numbers. So I'm just going to put it as 2 as target, and position as 1, which basically translates to the centered dialog box. So all I have to do is save and publish. And one more step I missed doing earlier was to populate this parameter name, which is the canvas page name itself. So if you go to the solutions, click on the pages tab, you'll find your pop-up canvas page, and next to it you would see a canvas name, the name itself. So that you'll have to copy paste it here, and then once you're done, let's go. I mean, also I changed the label open pop-up rather than new command. So I'm just going to go ahead and save and publish this. Now that we have published it, it still says we are still publishing parts of the app. And once it's done, I'm just going to go ahead and play it. And let me just click on the users, and then I'm just going to go hit this learn with us. It says the newer version of this app is available, and please refresh to update. I'm just going to do a control R. It's going to go ahead and refresh the entire page, and it still shows new command, so I don't think new changes are still here. I'm just going to do another control R. Okay, now open pop-up has come. Clicking on the open pop-up, and our dialog box has come now. Let's go ahead and configure or tweak the size and see whether that is getting reflected. I am just going to make the height as 1000 and the width as 700. I'm going to do a save and a publish, and I'm going to hit play once this is been done. So let's see. So this is in this dimension. Let's see whether our new height and width are getting into picture or not. New version of the app is available. Okay, open pop-up has come. Just going to refresh one more time just to be sure. Open pop-up. Yep, now you see the difference, right? This was a smaller one, and this was a bigger dialog. So our height and width are being customized, and it is appearing here. So far so good. Okay, now that we are able to see the pop-up inside the model driven app, let's see how we are going to link the data or the context of the data into the custom page that we had created earlier. I'm just going to go ahead, click on edit the custom page. Now every time we click on that open custom page, we are basically getting the open pop-up, we are basically getting this particular custom page loaded. Now let's give it a minute for it to open. Now what happens is that whenever this particular page is open, right, the page is always called with the parameter of the record ID within which it has been opened. And Our JS is actually taking care of that. Whenever this particular page open, record ID is passed as a parameter to this particular custom page. Now all we have to do is read this particular parameter into the canvas custom page. So how do we do that? There's actually a good documentation in the Microsoft documentation. So if you see here, whenever there's an app on start, they're basically setting the record item into a variable, and this is the parameter ID. So record ID is what we need to read, and then we'll be able to do the subsequent actions. I am not going to do anything. I'm just going to uh, read this particular parameter, and I'm just going to put it as label, and I'm just going to paste it here. Save. Just going to go ahead and publish it once the save completes. Publish this version. Okay, now let's go and see whether our changes are reflecting. So I go to the model driven app, go ahead, play the app. Let me be double sure. I'm just going to do a Control R so that we get the latest information. I click on the project, click on open pop-up. Yep, we have gotten the ID, and this ID is nothing but the ID of the record itself. So if you see in the URL, 044 ends with 31F and 044 ends with 31F. So we have gotten the data context within the custom page. All we have to do moving forward is make use of this particular thing inside the custom pop-up page, either using a lookup or filter, whatnot. Like all in sky is your limit. Like you can link to this particular record in the ways possible. And in this example, I'm just going to make use of lookup. Before I do a lookup, I'm going to add the data source. So I'm just going to put users table again. Okay, now we're just going to copy the same code here, whatever is here. I'm just going to put on start. Set record item. Here in place of the entity, I'm just going to make it as users. And users entity identity field. This will be the ID of the users table itself. I'm just going to go here, tables, user, columns. So there should be a column called as unique identifier. I am just going to get to do an A to Z and find the unique identifier for this particular table. Okay, so just the user ID, system user ID. So I'm just going to this as user. Okay, I'm just going to remove this. It's basically app on start. On start is equal to this one. Now I'm just going to click on run. So what this code translates is to whenever the app starts, I am checking whether there is a parameter for this. If there is a parameter, then I am going to get the record of that particular ID. If I'm not having any parameters, then I'm just going to pick the first user from the list. Okay. Now I'm going to add a label. I'm going to put it as once again, what did I set it as? Record item. Okay. Record item. Display name, username. Okay, this is the first user. So similarly, I can keep on building the labels as in when I wanted username and dot address, something like this. I can keep on building, and this is how I just connected with the data. I'm just going to go ahead and publish it, and now let's see whether the same thing is getting repeated here. Yep, now I'm getting it. Perfect. That's about it. That's how I was able to pass the context from the model driven app to the pop-up itself.